Nobody really noticed the new girl at first. She was quiet, always walking slowly with a white cane in her right hand. Her eyes looked cloudy, like glass. Most students at Northridge High didn't know her name. She didn't speak much. She never looked at anyone, but on her third day, something happened in the hallway, something that made a few kids stop laughing. Her name was Ava Carter. She had just moved to the city with her aunt, who worked night shifts at the local hospital. Nobody saw Ava's parents. Nobody asked about them either. People just stared, whispered, and then moved on. She wore simple clothes. A faded blue hoodie, worn-out jeans, black sneakers. It's always clean but nothing flashy. Her head was usually down. Her cane tapped the floor softly, tap, tap. Tappus. She found her way through the noisy hallways. Some students found her weird. Others ignored her completely, until Marcus noticed her. Marcus was a tall, loud boy, always laughing. Always. Surrounded by his group, Jaden, Leah, and Darren. They liked to mess with new students, especially the quiet ones, and Ava. She was the perfect target. "Yo," Marcus said one morning, nudging Jaden, "watch this." Ava was walking near the lockers, holding her books in one hand, cane in the other. She moved slowly but with care. Her steps were small but confident. Marcus smirked and stuck out his foot. Everyone around them watched silently. Ava's cane swept forward, then paused. And just before she stepped, she lifted her foot and stepped over Marcus's leg. Marcus froze. Jaden let out a weird laugh. "Bro, how did she?" Ava kept walking. She didn't say a word, didn't turn her head. Eyes looked straight ahead, and that was the first moment someone realized I might not be so helpless. Later that day in the cafeteria, whispers began to spread. "Did you see what she did in the hallway? I swear she stepped over Marcus's foot like she saw it. She's faking it. No way she's blind." Ava sat alone at the far corner table, slowly eating from her tray. She didn't lift her head even once. She chewed quietly, facing the wall. Students watched from across the room, some curious, others annoyed. Marcus slammed his tray down across from her. Jaden and Leah followed, grinning. Ava didn't flinch. "Hey," Marcus said, leaning forward. "You blind or not?" No reply. He waved a hand in front of her face. "Nothing," Jaden laughed. "Maybe she's a robot." Leah grabbed an apple from Ava's tray and took a big bite. Still, Ava didn't react. But just as they were about to walk away, Ava lifted her head slightly. She didn't smile. She didn't speak, but her lips moved just enough to whisper, "I heard your foot drag." Before it touched the floor, Marcus stopped walking. "What did you say?" he snapped. But Ava had already returned her head toward the wall. That single sentence changed something. The tone, the way people saw her. In the next few days, Marcus's group tried again. They whispered things behind her, made jokes, waved their hands near her ears. But Ava's reactions were always strange. Once Jaden dropped a pencil on purpose beside her seat. Before it even hit the floor, Ava's foot slid over and stopped it. Another time, Leah pretended to trip and accidentally shoved Ava's shoulder. Ava didn't fall. She stepped back gracefully and grabbed the edge of the table before her body even tilted. "Did you feel that?" Leah mocked. "No," Ava said quietly. "I felt the air move." Students around her exchanged looks. Mr. Daniels, the school's history teacher, started to notice too. Ava always seemed to turn her head a second before someone called her name. During a group presentation, someone dropped a book behind her. Ava caught it mid-fall. Mr. Daniels called her after class. "You ever had any training, Ava?" She shook her head. He stared at her carefully. "You sure?" She nodded. Double quotes. He said softly.
"Oh, no."
"You move like someone who sees more than the rest of us." Still Ava said nothing more. One afternoon, the janitor, Mr. Thomas, was sweeping the floor near the back stairwell when he saw something strange. Ava was standing perfectly still in the middle of the hallway. Her cane was folded and tucked in her bag. She had earbuds in, but she wasn't dancing. She wasn't listening to music. She was moving, slow, careful steps. Left foot, slide, right foot, turn. A slow, fluid motion of arms cutting through the air. Mr. Thomas watched, confused. She was practicing something, but it wasn't random. It was precise, disciplined. He knew martial arts when he saw it. And Ava was training. She turned her head sharply toward him. "Sorry," he said quickly. "Didn't mean to scare you." She pulled her earbuds out. "You didn't everything okay?" he asked. Ava simply nodded and walked away. Cane tapping again like nothing had happened. That evening, Mr. Thomas sat alone in the staff room, still thinking. A blind girl, moving like a fighter. Who was she? The next morning, things escalated. Marcus was waiting for her near the locker hallway. He wasn't laughing this time. He wanted to prove she was fake. As Ava walked down the hall, Marcus quietly pulled open a door behind her. Blocking the path she normally used, she didn't stop. Her cane didn't touch the door, but just as she was about to hit it, she twisted sideways, turned around, and walked the opposite direction without hesitation. No one understood how. Marcus stepped forward. "You're lying." Ava turned her cloudy eyes toward him. "You believe what you want." Marcus reached for her bag roughly, before his hand could touch the strap. Ava stepped sideways and lightly tapped his wrist with two fingers. He froze. It was soft. But it hurt. His hand went numb for a second. She walked away. This time, everyone in the hallway stared. No one spoke. That night, Ava sat alone in her room. The small apartment she lived in with her aunt was quiet. She unrolled a thin mat on the floor, turned off the lights, put on a blindfold, though she didn't need it. Then she began to move. Silent steps, measured breath. One foot forward, a pattern, a flow, a discipline. She had learned to fight with her ears, with her skin, with her instinct. But most of all, she had learned to fight in the dark, and nobody at school knew. "Not yet. She can't see us. Let's mess with her." Not one. Girl in the crowd notices Ava flinching before anyone speaks. By the end of the week, Ava Carter wasn't just the blind girl anymore. She had become something else, something people whispered about in groups, something even the bullies didn't fully understand. She still walked the same. She still wore simple clothes. She still spoke very little. But the students at Northridge High had seen things they couldn't explain. And now they watched her not with laughter, but with quiet curiosity, fear. At the front of the school, just before the morning bell, a group of students stood by the flagpole. Marcus was in the middle, arms crossed. "She's faking it," he said again. Jaden nodded, trying to sound confident.
"Oh, no way. She's really blind."
"But how did she know your hand was coming?" asked Aaron. "You said you didn't even touch her." Marcus stared at the ground. "She got lucky." Leah bit her lip. "I don't know, man. She moves like she knows where people are." "Exactly," said Marcus. "It's a trick. She wants attention." "You tried to trip her, and she didn't fall," said Leah quietly. "That's not normal." Jaden laughed nervously. "Maybe she's Daredevil." Everyone chuckled, but there was a hint of truth in the joke. In homeroom, Ava sat at her usual desk in the corner near the window. She faced forward, hands resting calmly on the desk, but behind her whispering had begun. "Watch her hands," someone murmured. "I heard she used to fight in tournaments." "No, she was in juvie. Her parents trained her in a secret dojo. She can smell people moving." The rumors got wilder with every sentence. Mr. Daniels walked in, holding a stack of papers. "Pop quiz today," he said. Groans filled the room except for Ava. She simply pulled out a pen and waited 10 minutes into the quiz. Jaden leaned over and whispered, pissed, "Ava, number 4. "It's C." She didn't answer. He smirked. "Guess she's not even listening." Ava slowly turned her head. "Number 4 is B," she whispered back. "You read it too fast." Jaden stared at her, eyes wide. "How did you?" Returned to her quiz. In the hallway after class, Jaden grabbed Leah's arm. "She corrected my answer," he said. Leah blinked. "So?" I whispered it, quiet, behind her. She couldn't see me. Leah's voice dropped. But she heard you, she said. I read it too fast. Now Leah looked concerned. She didn't just hear you. She understood your voice. Jaden nodded slowly. The hallway was buzzing with other voices. More students were talking about Ava. Some looked at her with awe, others with fear, a few with suspicion. Later that day, in the girls' locker room after gym, a group gathered near the benches. Cassie, one of the more popular girls, pulled Leah aside. You were there when she stopped Marcus's hand, right? Leah nodded. Cassie lowered her voice. What if she's trained in what? In something? Karate? Judo? Ninja stuff? Leah looked around and whispered, she does move like it. Mr. Trains. Alone. Mr. Thomas saw her. Cassie's eyes widened. Why doesn't she talk? She talks when she wants to, Leah said. Just not much. Cassie nodded. I want to see for myself. That afternoon, Ava was walking slowly down the back hallway near the art room. It was quieter there. She liked the silence. Tap, tap, tap. Her cane clicked with rhythm. Suddenly a paper ball hit her backpack. She stopped behind her. Cassie and her friends giggled. Oh, sorry. One girl said, didn't see you there? Ava didn't respond. Cassie stepped closer and whispered, so ... Are you really blind? Or are you just good at pretending? Still no answer. Then Cassie clapped her hands loudly behind Ava's ear. Ava didn't flinch. Cassie frowned. She snapped her fingers next to Ava's neck. Again. Nothing. But Ava slowly turned her head. The floor creaked under your left foot, she said softly. You weigh more than your friends. Cassie took a step back. Her mouth opened, but no. Words came. Ava turned away again and walked off. Cassie just stood there, shaken in the library. Darren whispered to Marcus, You still think she's faking? Marcus looked annoyed. She's messing with us, that's all. You should leave her alone, man, Darren muttered. She's not normal, Marcus glared. Exactly, and I'm going to prove it. That night, Ava sat in the small apartment bedroom again. She had locked the door. On the wall was a small shelf of books, most in Braille. But below them, inside her drawer, was a folded black belt. She never wore it in public. She never told anyone about it. Her master, Mr. Kayad, trained her in silence. Years of listening. Years of moving through darkness. Now, all of that was hidden behind a quiet face and a white cane. But Northridge High had begun to notice, and they wouldn't stop until they knew the truth. Ava was walking to class like always, until someone shoved her hard from behind. This time, she didn't just dodge. It was Monday morning again. The sun was barely up. But students were already gathering near the lockers, exchanging stories. Whispers about Ava Carter hadn't stopped since Friday. She can hear your heartbeat. She knows where you're standing even if you don't make a sound. She caught a fly in the air. That one wasn't true, but it didn't matter. The legend had begun, and Ava, she just kept walking through it all, quiet, calm, untouched. But not everyone liked the silence. She carried especially not Marcus. He'd spent the whole weekend stewing. His friends were backing off. Jaden had stopped. Laughing, Leah was acting nervous. And Darren? He refused to even mention Ava's name. Cowards. Marcus muttered to himself as he stood outside the gym. He didn't like feeling ignored. He didn't like being scared. And most of all, didn't like losing. Especially to a blind girl, Ava. Entered through the side door, her cane tapping softly. Her head was slightly tilted, listening, feeling. The hallway was nearly empty. Her class was in room 102, just around the corner. Marcus was waiting. This time, he wasn't going to trip her or wave his hand. This time, he was going to push her. Not hard. Just enough to knock her over. Make her look weak again. Maybe laugh. At her crawling, that would end the rumors. As she walked past him, he stepped forward fast and shoved her hard from behind. Students nearby gasped, but Ava didn't fall. Instead, her left foot slid back. Her knees bent, and she caught her balance. She didn't even touch the wall. Marcus blinked before he could say anything. Ava spun around fast, her cane whipped forward not to strike, but to stop just an inch from his chest. Marcus froze, his breath caught. Ava stood completely still, the end of her cane hovering right over his heart. Then she said, softly but clearly, "First strike. Yours." Then she lowered the cane and walked away. The hallway was silent. Marcus stared after her, chest rising and falling. "She knew," he whispered. No one replied, not even Jaden, who had just arrived and saw the tail end of it that day. Ava became something else entirely. Students watched her in the cafeteria. But now they didn't laugh. They moved for her. They cleared space for her at tables. Some even greeted her, but she rarely replied. In her mind, Ava was trained to be invisible. But now, she was the center of attention. Mr. Thomas, the janitor, approached her during lunch. He placed a folded note beside her tray. "I used to teach. Just thought you might like this." Then he walked away. Ava opened the note. It read, "There. Going to test you again. Be ready. They don't understand fear until it hits them first." She folded it quietly across the room. Leah sat nervously with Cassie and the other girls. "She's not like us," Leah whispered. Cassie shook her head. "She's dangerous, no," Leah replied. "She's trained." "That's not the same." "But why hide it?" Cassie asked. "Maybe she has a reason," Leah said. "Maybe it's not our business." Cassie didn't answer, but her eyes were fixed on Ava. After school, Marcus waited behind the gym. He didn't have a plan this time. He just wanted to understand. When Ava walked out the side exit, she paused. "Why do you keep following me?" she asked without turning. Marcus stepped forward. "How did you do that?" She turned her cloudy eyes toward him. "You breathe through your mouth. You drag your left shoe when you're nervous." He stared at her, confused. "So what?" "Like what, daredevil?" "No," she said simply. "I'm someone who learned to survive." Marcus looked down. "I wasn't trying to hurt you," he muttered. "Yes, you were," she replied, "but not today." Then she walked away. Marcus stayed behind, unsure of what he felt. Was it fear? Respect? Guilt? He didn't know yet. That night, Ava stood on her mat again. She moved in slow motion, hands slicing the air, feet pivoting softly, blindfold wrapped over her eyes. Her body flowed like water, but her mind was still. Her sensei once told her, "One day your greatest strength will not be your skill. It will be your silence." She never understood that. Till now. The next day, a new rumor spread. Principal wants to talk to her. Someone told the school board she's dangerous. She might get kicked out. But Ava just sat quietly in the library, reading with her fingers. And somewhere near the back, Marcus watched her from behind a bookshelf. Not with hatred, not with fear, but with curiosity. He wasn't done. Not yet, just before lunch. The loudspeaker echoed through the school. "Ava Carter, please report to the principal's office." Nobody knew who sent the complaint, but everyone stopped what they were doing. Ava paused mid-step in the hallway. The voice had come through clearly, louder than usual, and now the hall was full of whispers. "She's in trouble." Did she hit someone? Maybe she is dangerous. She didn't react. She simply turned toward the main office, tapping her white cane gently against the floor. Tap, tap. Each step echoed louder in the growing silence. Leah sat frozen in her seat, 2 classrooms away. She hadn't seen Ava do anything wrong. In fact, she'd seen her do the opposite, walk away when anyone else would have fought back. "Why are they calling her?" she whispered. Cassie shrugged, trying to act cool, but even she was nervous. No one had ever reported Ava, but now someone had. Inside the office, Principal Myers sat behind a large desk. Flipping through a file, Ava entered without knocking. She stood still. The secretary opened her mouth to guide her in, but Ava was already there. "Miss Carter, principal," Myers said, glancing up, surprised. "Please, sit down." She didn't move. "I prefer to stand," she said quietly. The principal sighed and folded his hands. There's been concern. A complaint, actually. Multiple students say you've been training in secret, Ava finished for him. And reacting to threats, he blinked. Well, yes. I haven't harmed anyone, she added. Myers cleared his throat. Be that as it may, some students feel uncomfortable. Some feel afraid. Of a blind girl, she asked there. Was silence. Then the principal spoke again, slower this time. They'll say you sense people coming, that you move differently. Should I pretend to fall down when they push me? Question hit hard. Principal Myers leaned back. I'm just here to keep the peace, Ava. What exactly am I doing wrong? He didn't answer that. Instead, he handed her a slip of paper. A warning, he said. No after-school activities. No martial arts on school grounds. Keep a low profile. She took the paper without reading it. I already keep a low profile, she said. And then she walked out by the time she returned to class. Everyone had heard she got in trouble. She's banned from fighting. She's suspended. Ava ignored it. She simply sat at her desk, opened her notebook, and began to write in Braille. But her mind wasn't calm anymore. Someone had spoken against her, and that meant someone was watching more closely than before. After school, Leah found Ava outside by the old trees near the parking lot. She hesitated, then stepped forward. I didn't say anything, she said softly. I know, Ava replied. Was it Marcus? No, Ava said. He watches, but he doesn't lie. Then who? Ava didn't answer. She tilted her head slightly, listening. I think it's someone else, she whispered. Someone who's afraid. At that exact moment, Cassie stood inside the counselor's office, hands folded in her lap, voice shaking. I don't want her to get hurt. But what if she does hurt someone? What if she snaps? The counselor looked at her kindly. She's done nothing violent, Cassie, but she could. That's not a reason to fear someone. Cassie stared at her shoes. I just want to feel safe. Later that evening, Ava stood in her small room again. This time, she didn't train. She just sat on the floor with her legs crossed, breathing slowly, remembering what her teacher once said, the fight you avoid today becomes the trap they set tomorrow. She exhaled slowly. They wanted her invisible again, but something was changing. The school, the students, and her silence could no longer protect her completely. The next morning, Marcus walked up to her near the library. Hey, he said quietly. Was it about me? No. He looked relieved but confused. Then who reported you? She turned her cloudy eyes toward him. I don't know, she said, but I will. Marcus hesitated. Never said sorry for pushing you. You don't have to, she said, but you're still watching me. Why? He shrugged. Because I don't understand you. Maybe that's good, she said. Understanding turns fear into control. He nodded slowly, then walked away. That afternoon, something strange happened. A girl from Ava's math class, a quiet girl named Pri, walked up to her. I believe you, she said. Ava tilted her head. About what? That you're not dangerous? Ava smiled slightly. You're the first to say that, not the last, Priya said. And then she walked away. But not everyone felt that way, as the school emptied out that afternoon. 3 students gathered. Behind the gym, Jaden Darren, and someone Nuniko. A junior with something to prove. She's making us look weak, Nico said. And the teachers are scared of her. Jaden frowned. She's never even hit anyone. Exactly, Nico said. And that makes her scarier. Darren stayed quiet. She needs to be exposed, Nico said. She's hiding something. I say we find out what. Jaden hesitated. How? Nico smiled. Follow her after school. See where she really goes. And that evening, they did. Ava didn't know it yet, but 3 boys were following her. Through the alleys, past the park, even to her street. And when she entered the old building at the end of the block, they saw something they shouldn't have. The sun was fading behind the rooftops. The school day was long over. But Ava didn't go home right away. She never did. She walked with her usual calm pace, tapping her cane every few steps, not just for guidance, but rhythm. Focus. But she wasn't alone. Behind her, 3 shadows kept their distance. Jaden, Darren, and Nico. They ducked behind trees and fences, slid quietly across yards, stopped whenever she did. She doesn't know we're here, Nico whispered. But Jaden wasn't so sure. Ava's head would tilt slightly sometimes. Like she was listening behind her. They stayed quiet. They watched. Ava turned down an alley near the edge of town, narrow, dusty, lined with old buildings. She lives down here. Darren whispered. No, Nico said, shaking his head. She trains here. I heard from a senior. There's some kind of gym back here. Hidden. Jaden looked nervous. Maybe we should stop. No, Nico said. We're this close. Ahead, Ava paused outside an old brick building with no sign. She touched the doorframe with her fingers, then entered. The boys crept forward and peeked. Through a dirty side window. What they saw made them freeze. Inside was a wide wooden floor. Silent Ava stood in the center. Her cane was gone. She bowed her head, then moved, smooth, fast, controlled. Her arms sliced the air in slow, perfect lines. Her feet barely made a sound as they stepped and turned, but then she stopped, and with one sharp exhale, she struck. A powerful forward kick hit the air like a thunderclap. Jaden gasped. She's really doing it. Like a master. Whispered, that's karate. Not beginner stuff. That's real. Nico narrowed his eyes. She's been hiding this the whole time. Then he smirked. Let's record it. Jaden grabbed his arm. No, man, that's messed up. Why? Let everyone see what she is. She hasn't hurt anyone. She keeps to herself. Nico's face darkened. She embarrassed people. She's making us look weak. If the teachers won't deal with her, we will. Jaden shook his head and stepped back. I'm out. Darren followed, but Nico stayed behind, lifting his phone slowly. Inside, Ava stopped mid-step. Her body froze. Then she turned directly toward the side window. Even from outside, Nico saw her face. Eyes cloudy, but her head was tilted.
Like she
Could hear him breathing. Nico panicked. He stumbled back, dropped his phone, and ran Ava. It didn't move. She only whispered to the air. I don't like being watched. The next day, the school was buzzing. Someone followed her. She trains in secret. She's like a ninja. No one knew who started the rumor, but Ava walked through the hall like always silent, composed. Leah walked up to her between. Classes, did someone spy on you? Ava didn't answer. You should tell the principal. I already did, she said softly. He told me to ignore it, unless something happens. Leah's voice dropped. What if it does? I won't ignore it. Across the building, Nico was furious. He hadn't posted the video, but Ava had seen him. Now people were whispering about him too. She scared him. He ran like a kid. He didn't like that. Not one bit. That night he texted someone. Nico, we're ending this tomorrow, unknown number. You sure? It's Nico? Meet me behind the gym. Bring the others. That evening, Ava returned to the old building, but she didn't train. She sat, still breathing, listening. Her senses were sharper. She could hear the footsteps that tried to sneak, smell the different soaps on students' skin, hear heartbeats. When people were angry, and more than anything, she could feel something coming. A storm. And it was closer than anyone knew. Later that night, she sat with her uncle at the dinner table. He was an older man, quiet, kind but firm. The school, he said softly. They said someone followed you. Ava nodded. 3 boys. One of them tried to record me. He raised an eyebrow. Did they say why? No. But I don't need a reason. I know fear when I hear it. Her uncle leaned forward. You know what comes next? She nodded. They'll try again. But not in secret. And she was right. The next day, just after the last bell, a loud sound echoed through the hallway. Fight behind the gym. Students rushed. Phones came out. Feet pounded down the corridor, and standing at the edge of the crowd. Was Ava she didn't? Move. She didn't ask who it was about because she already knew it was for her. As she stepped toward the gym, Leah tried to stop her. "Don't go. It's a trap," Ava simply said. "They're not ready for the answer they're asking for." And she walked into the crowd. Behind the gym, Nico stood in the center, 3 others with him. He pointed at Ava as she approached. "You think you're better than everyone? Just because you can hear footsteps?" She stopped 5 feet away. "I don't think that." He took a step forward. "You want to prove you're not dangerous? Then fight me." The crowd held its breath. Silence. Then Ava spoke. "I don't need to fight you." She turned to leave. That's when Nico lunged, but he never touched her with a single spin. Ava stepped aside, swept his leg, and Nico fell hard to the ground. Gasps erupted. He scrambled up, but she was already walking away. She didn't even look back. And in that moment, students realized something chilling. She wasn't trying to win. She was trying not to hurt them. Hook. Ava had walked away from the fight. But Nico wasn't finished. He crossed the line even the school couldn't ignore, and that night, Ava's silence finally broke. The video of the failed fight spread like wildfire. Someone had filmed it. It wasn't clear how. Ava moved so fast, but it was clear Nico never touched her. She dodged, blocked, dropped him to the ground, and walked away. No punches. No anger. Just control. By morning, half the school had seen it in the cafeteria. Students whispered around Nico. Dude got dropped. She didn't even hit him. She could have, though. Nico sat at the back, jaw clenched. His bruised elbow throbbed. But worse than the pain was the humiliation. He wasn't afraid of her. He was afraid of looking weak, and that's what pushed him past the line. During lunch, Leah saw Ava sitting outside under the trees. She approached slowly. Everyone saw that video. "I know," Ava said softly. "They're scared of you. I don't want them to be." Leah sat beside her. "Then why did you do it?" "I didn't fight," Ava replied. "I just refused to fall." Leah was quiet for a moment, then asked, "Do you regret it?" "No," Ava said. "But someone does." That afternoon, Nico made his move. He slipped into the teacher's lounge when no one was looking, then into the back office he found Ava's student file, snapped a picture of it with his phone, and left. Later, he posted something online, something with Ava's full name and address, and a false claim. "This girl is dangerous. She trains with weapons. My friend said she nearly blinded someone in a fight at her last school." By midnight, the post had spread. It reached parents, teachers, even students from other schools. And with it came the messages. "Is this true? Should be expelled? I don't feel safe with you here." Ava sat on her bed, staring at the screen. No emotion, just breath. Steady, deep, but inside her. Something shifted. It was no longer fear, it was choice. The next morning, Principal Myers stood before Ava's homeroom class. His face was tight, nervous. "There has been an incident. One of our students posted false information about another student online." Eyes turned toward Ava. She didn't move. "Let me be clear," the principal continued. "There is no threat. Ava Carter is not under investigation. The claims made were untrue, and the student responsible has been suspended." Nico wasn't in class. Leah leaned toward Ava and whispered, "He really did it?" Ava nodded once. "He tried to make me invisible, and now they see me." After class, Marcus caught up with Ava in the hallway. "You okay?" he asked. "Yes." "You want him to pay?" She tilted her head. "He already is." He looked down. "I didn't stop him. You didn't join him," she replied.
That's
Enough. But it wasn't over. Not yet. That evening, someone threw a brick through Ava's front window. No note, no warning, just shattered glass and a silent message. Her uncle stood beside her, holding the brick. His hand shook with anger. "This has gone too far." Ava placed her hand on his arm. "Let me handle it." "Ava, this isn't just bullying anymore. This is danger, I know." He looked down at her cloudy eyes. "You're calm." "Yes." "Why?" she whispered. "Because they finally showed me who they are." The next morning, Ava stood outside the school before the first bell. Students were still arriving, but she waited. still silent, and then Nico arrived, shoulders tense. Eyes darting, he saw her, tried to walk past, but she stepped forward and spoke loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. "You crossed a line, Nico." Stopped. His voice was quiet, mocking. "You scared now?" "No," she replied, "but you should be." Laughter rippled through the crowd. But Ava didn't smile. She took another step, then said in a voice clear and steady, "You tried to expose me, so I'll tell them myself." Now the crowd grew. Dozens of students stood in silence. Ava raised her hand. "This is me," she said. "I am blind, but I'm not helpless. I trained to protect myself because the world doesn't wait for kindness." Students whispered. She continued, "I never attacked anyone. I walked away from every fight, even when I was mocked, even when I was followed, even when I was lied about. Now even the teachers stood nearby. I didn't come here to prove anything," she finished. "But if you still want to test me, just say the word." She dropped her cane at her side. The crowd fell silent, and Nick, red-faced and sweating, turned and walked away after that. Things changed. The school didn't treat her the same. Some avoided, or some respected her, but no one touched her again. Not after what she said, not after how she said it, because now Ava wasn't a mystery. She was truth, and truth can't be broken. Ava had faced students before, but this time wasn't a bully or a crowd. It was a teacher, one who didn't believe her skills were real. And during class, he made a mistake. He challenged her. The storm had passed her, so everyone thought. No more bricks. No more rumors. And Ava. She walked the halls as if nothing had changed, but some teachers still had questions. Especially one, Mr. Dalton. He was new, ex-military, strong, voice, hard eyes. He taught physical education and personal safety. Most students didn't like him, but they respected him. He believed in strength, not just of the body, but the will. And he didn't trust what he didn't understand. Mr. Dalton had watched the hallway confrontation. He had heard about the alley training, and he had seen the video Ava dodging Nico like a ghost. To him it looked too clean, too practiced. Someone must have trained her, he told a colleague. That kind of movement doesn't come from nowhere. One Monday morning, he announced a new activity, self-defense drills. All students participate. When Ava's name came up, he raised a brow. "You'll be doing it too," she nodded. No protests, but Leah leaned in. "You sure you want to?" Ava simply said. "He's testing me, I'll answer." That afternoon, the class circled on the gym floor, padded mats. Open space. Mr. Dalton stepped into the center. Beside him stood a tall student named Louis Strong. Fast, captain of the wrestling team. Dalton spoke clearly. In the real world, self-defense means reacting fast, especially when the threat is unexpected. He looked at Ava. "I want you to stand in the center." Eyes closed. The class went silent. Ava stepped forward calmly, removed her shoes, and stood barefoot on the mat. Eyes closed, head tilted. Dalton gave the signal. Louise circled her, quietly, then lunged from behind. What happened next shocked even Mr. Dalton. Ava dropped low, spun on her heel. One leg swept around fast and clean, hitting Louis. Behind the knee, he lost balance and fell with a thud. Ava didn't stop. She rolled once, popped up to her feet, pointed toward Luce's throat without touching him. Gasps filled the gym. Dalton blinked. He hadn't seen movement that fast since his training years ago. Louis sat up, was confused but impressed. "She's for real," he mumbled. Ava helped him to his feet. No smile, no gloating, just calm. Dalton stepped forward. His tone changed. "I want to try something." The class watched with wide eyes as Mr. Dalton took Luce's place. He removed his jacket, loosened his tie, and cracked his knuckles. "Same drill. I'll come from behind. No warning." Ava nodded. Leah whispered from the sideline. "He's crazy." Dalton didn't wait. He moved without a sound, fast, trained. But just before he reached, Vashi turned. Not a block, not a strike. She simply moved a few inches to the left hand. Dalton's arm missed her by a breath. He froze. So did the class, Ava said quietly, "You breathe through your nose before you move." Twice. Dalton's eyes widened. Ava added, "I don't see you. I feel you." Dalton stepped back. For the first time, he nodded. "You pass." After class, he pulled her aside. "You have discipline. But where did you learn this?" My uncle Ava said. "He used to train with a blind master. He taught me their ways." Dalton crossed his arms. "Why hide it?" "'Cause power attracts the wrong kind of attention." He smiled slightly. And now, Ava looked toward the hallway full of students. "Now I've decided I don't need to hide, but I still don't need to show off." Dalton gave a small nod. "Smart." Then, more quietly, "If anyone ever challenges you again, come find me first." Ava tilted her head, hearing the change in his voice. "Are you offering help? Or asking for more proof?" Dalton laughed. "Both." The next day, the gym doors were left open. Students peeked in. Some came just to watch Ava train. She didn't speak. She simply moved. Each form, each motion, like poetry with muscle. They watched. Not because she was blind, but because she was beautiful in motion. Even students who once mocked her stood quietly and admired. But across the hallway, Nico watched too. From a distance, his suspension was over. But something had changed in him. He wasn't mocking. He wasn't laughing. He was waiting. And behind him, two unfamiliar older teens leaned against lockers. Not students, not teachers, but they looked directly at Ava and smiled, because Ava might have passed the teacher's test. But the real danger was still ahead, and this time, it wouldn't come from inside the school. She passed every test, faced every bully, even made the teachers respect her. But two strangers waited by the school gates, and they weren't students. They weren't there by accident, and they knew who Ava was long before anyone else did. It started with silence. Not the calm kind, the dangerous kind. Two men stood near the school's back gate. Black hoodies, clean sneakers, no school bags. They didn't talk, didn't smoke, didn't check their phones, they just watched. Leah noticed them first. She nudged Ava that afternoon as they left gym class. "Two guys near the fence. They're not from here." Ava nodded. "I felt it. You can feel people." "Sometimes," Ava said. "They weren't here yesterday." "Should we tell someone?" Ava paused, then replied, "Not yet." Later that day, Marcus approached them. "You saw the guys near the fence?" "Yes," Ava said. "They were asking questions." Leah's eyes widened. "Two?" "Freshmen. Asking if they knew the blind girl who fights." That night, Ava sat in her room, thinking. Then she turned to her uncle. "I need to ask you something." He looked up from the dishes. "What's wrong?" She spoke clearly. "Does anyone from your past know about me? Anyone who might want to hurt you or find me?" His hand froze on the plate. Then slowly he dried his hands. "There might be one." He sat across from her, voice low. "Years ago, I trained with someone named Jamal. We were brothers in the dojo. But he believed in using power to control people. He left the training. He was forced out. Our master called him dangerous. Last I heard, he was training others. No honor, no limits. Would he come here? I don't know. But if those two are connected to him," Ava finished the thought, "then I'm not just being watched. I'm being targeted." The next day, Ava changed her routine. She walked slower in the halls, spoke less. She started memorizing escape routes. Locked doors. Fire exits. She didn't train in public anymore, not because she was scared, because she was preparing at lunch. One of the strangers approached Marcus behind the gym. "You know, Ava Carter?" Marcus blinked. "Who's asking?" The man smiled. "Let's call it curiosity." Marcus backed away. "She doesn't talk to strangers." "Oh, she will," the man said, eyes cold. Sooner or later, before Marcus could react, the guy disappeared behind the school wall, gone like smoke. That night, Leah called Ava in a panic. "They followed me." "What? After school?" I saw one of them behind me all the way to the bus stop. Ava's voice went calm. Are you okay? Didn't go home. I went to my cousin's place. Good. Stay there, Ava. Why are they after you? Ava didn't answer, because deep down, she knew they weren't here for a fight. They were here for recruitment or destruction. The next morning, the principal called Ava to his office. Miss Carter, he said, looking serious. 2 men were reported on campus. Do you know them? No. They've been seen near the gym, behind the school and outside the gate. I know. We're informing the police. That won't be enough, she said softly. The principal blinked. Why? Ava stood still. Then said, because the people coming for me don't follow rules. After school, the 2 men finally stepped forward. Ava was walking with Leah and Marcus when they blocked the sidewalk. Hey, one said, we've been watching you. Leah gripped Ava's arm. Let's go. But Ava raised her hand gently. She faced them calmly. Her eyes, though blind, seemed to stare right through. Them, you work for Jamal, she said. The taller one smirked. He remembers you. He never knew me, but he knew your uncle. Now, he wants you to join him. Marcus stepped forward. She's not going anywhere. The man turned to him with a slow, dangerous smile. You gonna stop us, boy? Ava stepped between them. No one needs to get hurt, she said. But if you touch my friends, I will stop you. The man's smile faded. Last chance, girl. You walk away with a sore, you find out what a real fight feels like. Ava didn't answer. She simply reached behind her and pulled her cane. Apart, it clicked into 2 pieces. 2 short. Black sticks. Her training sticks. The men's eyes narrowed. You brought weapons to school? Ava whispered. No, I am the weapon. They charged. Leah screamed. Marcus pulled her back, and Ava moved. She didn't fight wild. She didn't panic. She flowed. Stick met arm, elbow met ribs, foot twisted. And one of the men hit the ground hard. The other swung a knife. Ava turned, blocked. Disarmed him in 2 moves. The knife clattered to the sidewalk. He ran. The other man limped. After him gone, police arrived. Minutes later, witnesses spoke camera footage. It's confirmed everything, self-defense, clean and controlled. But most importantly, the truth came out. Ava Carter wasn't a myth. She was a guardian. Back home, her uncle wrapped her sticks and placed them. Back on the shelf, you were supposed to wait. I did, she said, until they left me no choice. He nodded, proud, afraid, and deeply, deeply aware that this fight was just the beginning. She beat the strangers, saved her friends, and everyone thought it was over. But one morning, a letter arrived. No name, no stamp. It's just one line. You're invited to the circle of silence. And Ava knew it wasn't a warning. It was a challenge. The sun had barely risen. Ava opened the front door to check for the newspaper. Like always. But something strange lay on the mat. A black envelope. No name. No sender. Just a wax seal shaped like a broken eye. She picked it up slowly, carefully. Her fingers brushed the seal, cold, unfamiliar, dangerous inside. Was a single card, thick, heavy, smelled like burnt paper. The words were simple. Circle of silence. Proving ground. Sunday. 10 p.m. Come alone. That was it. No directions, no name, but Ava knew exactly where it meant. That night, she sat with her uncle in the small kitchen. She handed him the letter. He didn't speak for a long time then. Finally said, they've found you. Who are they? She asked. The Circle, he whispered. It's an underground group. Fighters, masters, some say assassins. Don't train in schools, they train in shadows. Ava kept her voice steady. Why me? 'Cause you beat there. Messengers, because your name is spreading, and because they want to know if you're one of them. Her uncle reached under the table, pulled out an old cloth-wrapped box inside to heavier sticks. Darker, sharper. You'll need these, he said. I thought I wasn't ready, she whispered. You're not, he said. But if you go, you might survive. Leah and Marcus noticed something different about Ava that week. She was quieter, moved faster, didn't laugh at jokes, didn't eat lunch. Leah asked, You okay? Ava nodded, but her voice was distant. I have a test. Soon. Marcus frowned. Like, in school? No, Ava said. Much harder. On Sunday night, Ava didn't go home. She walked instead past the stores, past the gym, into the old industrial part of the city, and there, behind an old boxing club, was a red metal door. It was already open. Inside was a long hallway, dim lights, echoes of footsteps. Ava moved forward, quiet, alert. She reached a circular room. 8 people stood in the shadows. None spoke. In the center, a square mat. Just like the one at school, but colder, older, worn with blood and time. One of the shadowed figures spoke. A woman. Voice calm. Welcome to the circle of silence. Ava said nothing. You don't speak here unless you've earned it, the woman added. Another voicemail stepped forward. You have 1 chance. 3 rounds. Survive them, and you leave. Alive, lose, and you leave broken. Ava didn't move, didn't flinch. She just said, I accept. Round 1. A short fighter entered the ring. Fast, agile, moved like a shadow. He struck first 3 quick jabs. Ava dodged 2. Blocked the 3rd. He tried to sweep her leg. She jumped, twisted in the air, and struck him. Just once on the side of the neck, he dropped. Round 2. A tall girl. Arms like steel, no weapon, just fists. She didn't wait. Charged Ava like a storm. Ava ducked, rolled, kicked out a knee. The girl stumbled but recovered. They clashed, punches, blocks, more punches, then dashed silence. Ava dropped low, stuck out her stick hand. The girl fell forward. Face dash first. Out cold. Round 3. The room went darker. A man stepped forward in silence. Taller than Ava's uncle. Black gloves. Eyes covered in a red cloth. No expression. He didn't bow, didn't greet, just waited. And then he moved. Faster than anyone before? Ava barely blocked. His punches were heavy, sharp. Her arms ached. Her legs stumbled. He whispered during the fight. You don't belong here. You're soft, weak. But Ava heard something else in his voice. Fear, because she was still standing, still fighting. The final blow came not from speed, but from silence. Ava waited, listened, felt the moment when his breath caught. Then she moved. Her stick slid up his shoulder. She stepped in close and swept his legs. He hit the mat hard, didn't get up. The room was still no. One clapped, no one spoke, until the woman said, You have earned your silence. Ava didn't understand. But then the man on the ground whispered, She passed. The shadows stepped back, and Ava stood alone, sweating, bleeding, breathing like a warrior. The woman handed her a second. Black envelope. Inside just 1 line. We'll call you when the real test begins. Ava walked home under the stars. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't scared. She was awake because something inside her had changed. The fights at school were over, but a new war was calling her name. Ava survived the circle of silence. She passed every fight, but now they don't want her strength. They want her heart, because the next test isn't in a ring. It's in her life. And someone close is about to be in danger. It started on a quiet Thursday. Ava walked to school like normal. Backpackcane.com steps. She tried to act normal, but inside, she wasn't the same. Something had changed since the circle. She was sharper, quieter. Leah and Marcus noticed it too. You okay? Leah asked for the 3rd time that week. Ava smiled, just barely. I'm still Ava. Marcus looked at her seriously. Yeah, But Ava Carter before the circle didn't have bruises on her wrists. That afternoon, something strange happened. Ava's uncle didn't come to pick her up. He was never late. Never she called. No answer. Texted. No reply. She waited outside school gates until the sun began to set. Then a message came in. No name, no number. Just 5 words. We have your uncle. No police. No noise. And below it, an address. A warehouse on the edge of the city. Ava didn't scream. She didn't panic. She walked home in silence, changed into her gear, packed her sticks, and locked the door. Then she made one call to Marcus. 15 minutes later, he arrived on his bike. You're not going alone, he said. You can't come, Ava replied. You're going to face them. The circle. You think I'm just going to stay home? Ava turned to him, voice low. This isn't a fight anymore. It's a trap. They want to see what I'll choose. Marcus clenched his jaw, then chose not to walk in alone. The warehouse was dark. One light flickered near the roof. The gate creaked open, slowly inside. Silence. Then a voice spoke from the shadows. You came. Ava stepped forward. I want him back. And we want something too. A spotlight turned on. Her uncle was tied to a chair, eyes open, breathing, but bruised. Alive, Ava took a step forward. No, said the voice. First, your final test. From behind a metal door, someone walked out. It was the tall girl from Helsalbra. The circle, the one Ava beat in round 2. But this time she looked different. No anger, no pride, just pain and fear. You fight her, the voice said. But this time, there are no rules, no rounds, and no audience. Ava blinked. Why her? Because she failed the last trial, and the price of failure is to be erased. The girl stepped forward, shaking. I don't want to fight, she whispered. Then don't, Ava said, but the voice interrupted. If she doesn't fight, he dies. The moment hung in the air. Her uncle, or a girl who didn't deserve to die. Ava clenched her fists, then dropped her sticks, and stepped into the ring. The girl moved, slowly, weak, not like before. She threw a soft punch. Ava dodged. She kicked. Ava caught her leg, again gently lowered it. The girl collapsed, breathing hard. I'm not here to kill you, Ava said. But they are, the girl whispered. And behind them, 2 more figures stepped into the light. They weren't part of the circle. They wore black masks, red symbols on their gloves. Ava didn't recognize them, but her body did. They moved like trained assassins. One lunged. Ava ducked. He spun, knife flashing. She blocked with her arm. Felt the sting. Blood. The other went for her back. She rolled. Kicked him sideways. He hit a metal pipe. Didn't stay down. Ava was bleeding now, breathing fast, but she didn't fall. She turned, grabbed her stick from the floor, and moved like lightning. Spin, strike, disarm, drop. The first attacker hit the ground unconscious. The second tried to run, but Ava was faster. She caught his arm, flipped him onto a crate. He didn't get up. Again silence returned, then slow clapping from the shadows. The woman from the circle stepped out. You passed. Ava's eyes narrowed. This wasn't a test. This was cruelty. The woman smiled. Tests revealed truth. You didn't fight for survival. You fought for people. That's the strength we wanted to see. She nodded to a guard. He untied Ava's uncle. He fell forward, weak, but safe. Ava caught him, held him, then looked up with fire in her eyes. I'm done playing your games. The woman smiled softly. Oh no, Ava, the real game is just beginning. That night, Ava sat beside her uncle on the porch. He held her hand. I'm sorry, he whispered. I should have never trained you. No, Ava said. You did the right thing. Now I just need to finish what we started. He looked at her, eyes full of worry. You're going back? Ava stood up, eyes on the dark sky. No, she said. I'm bringing them here. Ava thought the danger was over. She survived the circle. Saved her uncle. But the real enemy was still watching. And this time, they didn't come for her. They came for her school. It was a normal Monday morning. Students laughed in the hallway. Leah and Marcus waited by Ava's locker. Leah was holding a gift bag. We got you something. A surprise. Ava walked slowly toward them, smiling just a little. She opened the gift. It was a bracelet. Braille beads. She touched it with her fingers. It says, "You're never alone." Ava's smile grew but just for a second, because at that exact moment, the fire alarm screamed. At first, everyone thought it was a drill. Students walked toward the exits. But then bang. A loud sound came from the main entrance, then shouting screams, and two masked men rushed in, dressed in black. Armed with stun batons. They weren't school staff. They weren't police. They were hunters. Leah grabbed Ava's hand. "Ava, we need to run." But Ava didn't move. She turned her face toward the sound. "They're not here for everyone," she whispered. Marcus was frozen. "What do they want?" Ava's voice dropped. "Me." One of the hunters grabbed a teacher, shoved him against a locker. The other shouted, "Bring us the girl with the cane. We won't ask twice." Students panicked. Some ran, some hid in classrooms. Leah pulled Ava back. "We need to leave." But Ava let go of her friend's hand. "No, if I run, they'll hurt more people." Ava turned, walked calmly toward the main hallway. The sound of her cane echoed off the walls. The two hunters spotted her. "She's here." They started walking slow and careful like wolves. But Ava stopped halfway, took off her backpack, reached inside, and pulled out her training sticks. "What's she doing?" a student whispered. "She's blind," said another. "Is she? Gonna fight them?" Marcus watched from the hallway corner. He couldn't breathe. Leah whispered, "Come on, Ava. Don't do this alone." The first hunter ran toward her fast. He swung his baton. Ava ducked, spun, cracked. Her stick slammed into his knee. He screamed and dropped. The second hunter hesitated. "A blind girl?" he laughed. "Really?" Ava didn't answer. She just moved fast, smooth, controlled. Strike, twist, elbow, flip. Down both. Hunters dash unconscious. Students came out of hiding, eyes wide. No one spoke. Until Marcus whispered, Did Ava just beat them?" Leah's voice shook. "She didn't just beat them. She destroyed them." School was in shock. Police were called. An ambulance came. But Ava had already left the building. She walked out the back, disappearing before. The sirens arrived that night. She sat on the roof of her uncle's house, listening, thinking, remembering she had been tested in rings. She had been hunted in shadows. And now, they had attacked her home, her school, her friends. She clenched her fists. "No more hiding," she texted. "Marcus, you were right. I can't do this alone." Then Leah, "I need your help. It's time." And finally, she opened her laptop, typed a message, encrypted it, sent it to a hidden contact. A single line. "Ready for phase 2? I'll lead the fight." The screen went black, and Ava smiled. The girl who walked in silence was now leading a war. They came for her school. They came for her uncle. But Ava didn't break. Now, she's not hiding anymore. She's building something, not just to defend, but to fight back. Because this time she's not alone. The next morning, Ava didn't go to class. She walked through a quiet alley, past a locked gate, and into a dusty gym that hadn't been used in years. Old punching bags, broken mats, empty space. But to Ava, it wasn't broken. It was perfect. Marcus and Leah were already waiting. Marcus had his hoodie pulled low. Leah was carrying 3 notebooks and a laptop. They both looked nervous. Ava walked in with calm steps. "This is it," she said. "Our ground." "What?" Marcus asked. Ava turned. "Our training ground? our base, our future. That afternoon, she wrote out names. Not famous ones, not athletes, just students, kids like her. Outcasts, bullied, quiet, strong but hidden. She called them one by one. Some hung up, some laughed, but said yes by Friday. The gym had 7 students. Inside, none of them looked dangerous. A skinny boy who limped a tall girl with burn marks on her hand, 2 brothers who always wore headphones, and a girl who spoke only in sign language. Ava stood in front of them and spoke. You're here because you've been hurt. You're here because they think you're weak. But I see something else in you. I see fighters. The next day, training began. It was harder than anyone expected. Ava wasn't soft. She taught them how to block, how to move silently, how to fight without fear. Leah kept track of everything who improved, didn't. Marcus recorded footage, took notes, built secret online files. It wasn't just training, it was a mission. After 2 weeks, they called themselves the Silent Ones. Each had a silent one. Each had a skill, and Ava was their leader, not because she wanted power, but because she had already walked through fire and survived. One night, a new boy arrived. Quiet, face bruised, eyes angry. He didn't speak until the end of class. Then he looked at Ava and said, "They hurt my sister. The same people. I want in." Ava nodded. No questions, because she already knew the pain in his voice. But just as things grew stronger, danger returned. Late one evening, Leah was walking home. She noticed a black car behind her at first. She ignored it, but it turned every corner she turned. She started walking faster, then running. But the car didn't leave. She texted, "Ava, they're watching us." The next day, Ava gathered the group. Her voice was steady. "We're being followed, watched. That means we're doing something right?" Marcus was tense. "What do we do?" Ava smiled. "We fight smarter." She changed the meeting location every day, used secret codes for texting assigned, guard shifts, taught escape moves. The gym was still theirs, but now it was a fortress. Then, one afternoon, Ava received another message. Black screen, white text. "You've made your move. Now we make ours. Watch the news." She turned on the TV, and her heart dropped. Breaking news. Unknown attackers break into Lincoln High School. Principal injured. Students say masked men demanded the blind girl with sticks. It wasn't just a warning. It was war. That night, Ava stood before her team. She didn't pretend to be fearless. She didn't give a big speech. She just said, "They want to hurt what we love. We won't let them." The room was quiet. Then Marcus raised his hand. "What's the plan?" Ava looked around at her team. Her army. "We take the fight." To them, they all nodded. No more fear, no more hiding. Because Ava's army had one rule: protect each other. Fight together. Never be silent again. Ava built a secret army. She trained them to fight, to protect, to stand. Now, the enemy is close. She's ready. But what if the danger? Someone she once trusted. It was early morning. The air smelled like dust and sweat. Inside the old gym, Ava stood in front of a large whiteboard. Drawings, maps, timings. She pointed with her stick. "They've attacked our school. They followed Leah. That means they're watching this area. So we make it worth their time." The others watched closely. Marcus folded his arms. "You're saying we bait them?" Ava nodded. "We don't wait anymore. We control the game." The plan was simple. Make noise. Let them see Ava walking alone. Lead them to the trap. Warehouse empty, dark, but full of surprises. Leah set up cameras. Marcus hid tripwires and sound triggers. The Silent Ones took their places in the shadows. At 7:12 p.m., Ava stepped into the street, cane tapping. Hood low. Calm face behind her. The team stayed hidden. She walked toward the corner, then stopped. Black van turned slowly. Its headlights were off. Her phone buzzed. Marcus, they're here. The van doors opened. 3 men stepped out. Same black uniforms. Same red symbol on their gloves. One of them pointed. Grab her. They didn't see the camera above the alley. They didn't hear the whisper in Ava's earpiece. Now, the moment they stepped forward, flash bang. Smoke Leah. Now dropped the light bombs from the roof. Marcus hit the tripwire metal poles, slammed down behind the men, blocking escape. The silent ones jumped from their hiding places. The tall girl with the burned hands threw sand in one hunter's face. The boy with the limp tackled another's legs. Ava didn't run. She stepped forward, calm, silent, and struck. Her sticks moved like lightning. Crack, whirl, slam. One man went down. Groaning, the second swung wildly. Ava ducked and swept his legs. He dropped. Hard, the third man, taller, faster, grabbed her wrist. Ava froze, not from fear, from recognition. His grip, his smell, that voice. You've gotten stronger, Ava whispered Eli. The man took off his mask. It was him, her old sparring partner, her friend from her first year of training, the one who left without a word. Eli. The team stopped fighting, confused. Eli raised his hands. I didn't come to hurt you, Ava. I came to warn you. Ava didn't lower her sticks. You're with them. Not anymore, I left. But they're watching. They're coming. And you're not ready. Leah stepped beside Ava. He's lying. Eli looked desperate. I swear, they've sent someone worse. Not hunters, not trainers. Someone called the Raven. She doesn't care about rules. She doesn't take prisoners. Ava looked into his eyes, calm but cold. You were part of this. You let them hurt people. I tried to stop them. You disappeared, 'cause they threatened. My sister, I didn't have a choice. The air was thick. Everyone waited. Ava's voice dropped. You always have a choice. She turned her back. Lock him up. Not forever. Just until I decide. Marcus stepped forward and nodded. But before he could grab Eli, the lights cut out, pitch black. Then a cold voice echoed from the shadows. Well done, Ava. You finally stepped into the game. A single light flickered on. A woman stood at the far end of the warehouse. Long coat, pale eyes, black gloves with red tips. Leah whispered in horror. That's her. The Raven, without moving, the Raven spoke. Train them well, but they're not ready. Ava stepped forward. I'm not afraid of you. The Raven smiled. You should be. And just like that, she vanished into smoke. Alarms blared on Leah's laptop. She's inside the system. She just hacked our feeds. Marcus yelled. She was watching the trap from the beginning. Eli looked at Ava. You need me now? You know it? Ava didn't answer. She looked at her team, shaken, exposed, but still standing. Then she said, quietly, this was never just about fighting. This is about protecting who we are. She turned to the board and wiped it clean, picked up a red marker, and drew a line straight through the middle. We're done reacting. She circled the word Raven. We find her. We end this. Hook. Ava built an army. She won battles. Now the Raven has entered the game. She doesn't fight fair. She doesn't fight loud. She attacks from within. And this time, the enemy might be someone Ava loves. It started with whispers at first. Small things went wrong. Leah's laptop stopped working. Marcus's videos were deleted. Ava's training schedule vanished from the shared drive. They blamed glitches. Then Eli disappeared too. Days passed. No messages, no tracks, just silence. Ava didn't speak much. She trained harder, slept less. But the pressure was rising. On the third night, the old gym lights flickered on. At 2 a.m., Leah checked the cameras. Someone had broken in. She gasped. It's Eli. But he wasn't alone. Behind him stood the Raven. Ava was all ready. On her feet, she ran toward the gym, no backup. Just her and the night. By the time she arrived, the gym door was wide open, inside. Eli stood in the center, alone. No, Raven. Ava's cane tapped slowly as she entered. She didn't speak at first. Neither did he. Then she said quietly, "You brought her here." I shook his head. "I didn't. She followed me." "Why didn't you tell me?" Eli looked down. "Because she knows my sister. She said she'd protect her only if I stayed quiet." Ava took a slow breath. "So you lied. I thought I could help you from the inside, but she's not like the others, Ava. She gets into your mind." Behind her, the lights clicked off. Just darkness. Then a voice. "The Raven. Do you trust him, Ava?" Ava froze. He lied. "But he's also afraid." Ava turned toward the voice. "You want to scare us? You're wasting time." The Raven stepped from the shadows. "No. I want to break you. Slowly, one by one." She tossed something toward Ava. It landed at her feet, a memory card. Leah and Marcus arrived moments later. Ava plugged the card into Leah's spare laptop. Video opened. Grainy footage, the inside of their base, private talks, training sessions, arguments, laughs. All recorded secretly. "All shared by someone inside," Marcus whispered. "We've been watched for weeks." Ava's hand clenched the cane. Her voice was low. "Eli, was this you?" Eli looked her in the eyes. "I don't know." "Anymore? I never meant to hurt anyone." Ava turned away. That night, the Silent Ones met. No training, just silence. Then the girl who only spoke in sign language raised her hand. She pointed to her heart, then to Ava. Leah translated softly. She says, "We still believe in you, Ava's." Eyes shimmered. She looked around at her team. "They want to divide us. That's their real power. But we stay together, no matter what." Over the next few days, they rebuilt everything. New passwords, new security, new trust. Ava forgave. Eli didn't forget. He had to earn his place again. Then came the message. A box. No return name. Inside, burner phone. One text message appeared. "Come alone, midnight. Old train yard. If your Latlia disappears." Ava's heart dropped. She checked her phone. No reply from Leah in the last 3 hours. Gone. Marcus tried to stop her. "It's a trap." "I know," Ava said. "Then don't go alone. I have to, for Leah." She packed only her sticks. No phone, no tracking, just instinct and courage. At 11:58 p.m., she reached the train yard. Old tracks. Rusted trains, and in the center of the Raven, Leah was tied to a chair, gagged but alive. The Raven clapped slowly. "You came." "Good girl." Ava's jaw tightened. "Let her go." "Not yet. First, one more game." She threw down a blindfold. "Put it on." Ava didn't hesitate. She tied it over her eyes. Darkness, silence, then dash movement, she heard. Footsteps circling, a breeze, the clink of a chain, and then pain. Something struck her side. She stumbled. Another strike, but Ava stayed calm. She listened too. The sound of gravel, to the sharp breaths, to the weight in the air, and when the next attack came, she ducked, rolled, struck back. The Raven was fast, but Ava was faster now, stronger, wiser. She fought in silence. Each move remembered, each breath. "Controlled?" The Raven laughed. "You've learned?" But Ava didn't answer. She just moved. A sweep, twist, a strike to the jaw. The Raven fell back, breathing hard, then smiled. "We're not so different, you and I," Ava whispered. "No, I fight to protect. You fight to destroy." She untied Leah quickly. The Raven stood slowly, then vanished again into the night. But this time, she was limping. Back at the base, the team cheered as Ava and Leah returned. Ava didn't smile. She just said one thing. "Next time, we finish." She fought for peace. She fought for justice. But to defeat the Raven, Ava must fight something else, her own fear. Because the final test isn't about strength. It's about sacrifice. Morning broke cold and gray. The Silent Ones gathered around Ava in the old gym. Leah's arm was in a sling, but her eyes burned with fire. Marcus paced restlessly. Everyone knew what was coming. One last battle, one final move, and it would cost them something. Ava stood in front of the team. She didn't speak for a while, just looked at them, one by one. I can't promise we'll all be okay. I can't promise it'll be quick, but I can promise this. If we don't end her now, she'll never stop. She pointed to the map, the Black Echo facility. The Raven's last known base, hidden in the forest, far from the city. No signal, no help. Just them and her. Marcus sighed. Go in, we don't know what's waiting. Leah added, and we only get one shot. Ava nodded. That's why. We do it smart. The plan, split into 3 teams. Leah and 2 tech students would disable cameras. Marcus and 2 others would block escape routes. Ava would go in alone, face the Raven directly. They all disagreed at first. Too risky, too dangerous. But Ava stood firm. This isn't just about me anymore. This is about every kid they hurt, every voice they silenced. And I need to look her in the eye when this ends. That night they moved out, quiet, focused, ready. Ava rode in the back of the truck, feeling the cold wind on her face. She thought of her past, of her parents, of her first training, of Eli's betrayal, of Leah's bravery, and of all the kids who once laughed at her, but now followed her. They reached the edge of the forest. The moon was full. The air was still. Everyone took their places. Leah whispered in Ava's ear. Come back, please. Ava smiled. I will, or I'll make sure you don't have to keep fighting. Inside the facility, the air smelled of steel and silence. Ava walked slowly, cane tapping softly. No traps yet, no alarms, just darkness. Then a soft voice filled the hallway. The Raven, I knew you'd come. Ava stopped. I don't run, no you don't, but are you ready to lose? Lights flickered on. Ava stepped into a large room, and there she was. The Raven, tall.com, wearing black, she held no weapon, only stood at the center, smiling. You've done well, Ava. You've made friends. You've made fighters. But you forgot one thing. Ava raised her sticks. What's that? You still feel too much? Suddenly, 2 doors opened behind the Raven, and Ava's heart dropped. Eli and Marcus, both tied up. Ava's voice cracked. No. Pick one, the Raven said coldly. You save one. The other disappears forever. Ava froze. This was the final test. Her fear, her weakness, the choice. She stepped forward, shaking, breathing hard. I'm not playing your game. The Raven's voice grew sharper. You have no choice. You pick, or I decide. Eli shouted, Pick Marcus! Marcus yelled back, No, take me, don't. Let her win like this. Ava closed her eyes. Her world spun. Her heart screamed. Then she whispered, I choose. Me, and she ran straight at the Raven, blindfold tied. Eyes closed, no fear. The Raven struck, but Ava ducked, spun, swept her legs. Boom. They both hit the ground. Ava's sticks moved faster than ever before. Strike, parry, twist. But the Raven was brutal. She grabbed Ava's arm, snapped her cane, kicked her side. Ava screamed but didn't fall. Then Leah's voice came through her earpiece. Now the system's down. The doors are unlocked. Ava rolled backward, hit a button on her wrist. Boom. Flash bomb. The Raven screamed. Blinded, Marcus broke free. Eli kicked his way out. They charged together, tied her hands. The Raven was down, breathing hard. Finished, Ava stood over her, bruised, bleeding, stronger than ever. The Raven looked up. You're not like me, Ava whispered. No, I'm better. They left the facility before sunrise. Police arrived hours later. The silent ones disbanded quietly. No medals, no news, just peace. That night, Ava sat with Leah under the stars. Her cane was broken, her body sore, but her spirit breakable. Leah asked, What now? Ava smiled. Now we help others find their strength, just like I did. The battle was over. The raven was gone. But even after the war ends, some shadows remain. Eva thought her story was finished until she received a message that would change everything. 1 week passed. Eva returned to school quietly. No speeches. No applause. Just the same girl walking down the hallway with her cane. But this time, students stepped aside with respect. Some nodded, some whispered her name, and no one tried to trip her again in the courtyard. Marcus helped paint a mural. It showed the silent ones standing tall, proud, united. Leah sat nearby, smiling as younger kids practiced self-defense. Eva watched from a bench, hands folded, heart full. She had become a symbol not of power, but of quiet strength, of what could happen when a girl no one saw refused to stay invisible. Then one morning, Eva found a package by her door. No name, no address, just a soft ribbon and a small note. For the next warrior. Inside was a brand new cane, black wood, polished ends, and something carved on the side. You fight best in silence. Eva ran her fingers over the words and smiled. That same afternoon, the school counselor asked her to speak at an assembly. At first she said no, but then Leah whispered, "They need to hear your story." So Eva stepped onto the stage. Alone, no. Lights, no script, just her. She stood in front of the mic, quiet. Still, then she spoke softly, clearly. My name is Eva. I was never meant to be a fighter. People thought being blind meant being weak. But I learned that the world only sees what you show them. And I showed them my silence till I was ready to roar. The room was silent. No one laughed. No one looked away. Eva took a breath. Ow. To anyone out there feeling invisible, you are stronger than you think, and one day the world will hear you. She stepped away from the mic, and the room erupted in applause. That night, as she walked home, the wind picked up, and her phone buzzed. One new voice message. No number. She pressed play. A familiar voice spoke the raven. They say I'm locked away. But shadows always find cracks. Enjoy your moment, Eva. It won't last forever. Eva stood still, listening. The night was quiet. Her cane tapped once on the ground. Then she whispered, "Let them come," and walked into the darkness, stronger. Ready, unafraid.